Australian authorities are jailing Indigenous children, some as young as 10 years old, at such an alarming rate, it's being condemned as an international crisis. Amnesty International Secretary-General Salil Shetty is heading to Australia to draw attention to the soaring incarceration rates and calling for an urgent review of our justice system. As an adult, you're 16 times more likely to be locked up if you're Indigenous, but Indigenous children and teenagers fare even worse. They're now 24 times more likely to be incarcerated. The overrepresentation is even more staggering in Western Australia, where Indigenous children are 53 times more likely to find themselves in detention. Well, Salil Shetty is the Secretary-General of Amnesty International and a long-time campaigner against human rights violations. He's giving a speech to the National Press Club in Canberra next week about the high incarceration rates for Indigenous children. And he joins me now. Salil Shetty, thanks very much for talking to us. Salil, can you hear us there? Okay, well, as you can see, we have a picture of Salil Shetty there, but he's not hearing us. Salil, can you hear me? Okay, well, we hope to come to Salil Shetty soon. He is the Secretary-General from Amnesty International, and he's due to give a speech to the Press Club in Canberra next week about high Indigenous rates of incarceration, in particular in relation to children. And we'll cross again and see if we can talk to Salil Shetty. Salil, can you hear me? Okay. We're having a few problems with our line there. We're going to cross soon to Salil Shetty and talk to him about what he's going to talk about next week at the National Press Club, and that is, of course, the incarceration rates that I just mentioned, shocking incarceration rates of Indigenous children, in particular in Western Australia, where they're far higher than other places in Australia, and also far higher than in other Indigenous communities in other parts of the world. Salil Shetty, can you hear us? Apologies for that. We're still trying to get to our line in London. You can see our picture there. But we're really struggling to get that audio up. Salil Shetty, can you hear us? Okay. All right. As I mentioned before, Australian authorities are jailing Indigenous children, some as young as 10 years old, at an alarming rate, and it's been called an international crisis. Amnesty International is very concerned about this. And Salil Shetty is coming to Australia next week to draw attention to this, and I think he wants to campaign across the world and really draw attention and highlight the problems with incarceration rates in Australia when it comes to juvenile detention. We're just having a few technical problems. We're trying to fix it up. Well, apologies for that. I'm very sorry. We cannot get our connection with Salil Shetty in London. You'll have to wait to hear what he says when he comes to Australia and speaks to the National Press Club next week. Apologies for that. That is all for Late Line for tonight. You can find tonight's interviews on our website. Tony Jones will be with you tomorrow, and hopefully we won't have as many technical difficulties. I'll see you again on Friday night.